To be honest, the seasons have a great influence on my desire to create. Summer warmth encourages rest and enjoyment of sunny days, while the silence of winter awakens the depths of creativity. To find this balance, in the summer I choose projects that are easy and quick to make. This dress is a total breeze to sew up, leaving me with plenty of time to enjoy the sunny days. I love this relaxed fit that keeps me cool and breezy, and the charming straps that add a touch of summer romance. In this video, I want to share the process of creating this beautiful summer dress. I love to sew with linen and cotton. It is the most pleasant and easy to use fabric. Before cutting, I always wash and press the fabric to prevent any shrinkage later. My fabric features a pattern along the edges, which I plan to incorporate into the strap ruffles and skirt hem. I carefully cut out the pattern pieces and transferred all necessary markings to them. First, I'm gonna interface the pocket openings. To do this, I'm gonna take a fusible stay tape 2 cm wide and about 20 cm long and press it just above and below the pocket marks. Before I start sewing, I'm gonna use the overlock stitch to finish the front and backside edges, as well as the sides of the pockets. I start by sewing 2 rows of stay stitches along the edges of the neckline to prevent them from stretching. I'm going to fold the front at the center of the neckline, comparing the lengths to ensure symmetry. If one side is uneven, I'll only pull the threads and tie them into a knot. I'm going to pin the darts and then sew them, backstitching only at the beginning. I'm going to tie the threads into a double knot and gently pull them through the dart with a needle. To complete this step, I'm going to press the darts towards the top. Once the darts are ready, I'm going to make 2 rows of stay stitches along the armholes. I check the symmetry of the armholes in the same way as the neckline. I'm going to pin the pockets along the edges of the front and back pieces, ensuring the marks align and leaving a 1 cm allowance at the top and bottom of the pockets, and stitch them with a 1 cm seam allowance. On the front piece, I'm gonna turn the pocket lining to the right side and top stitch it. On the back piece, I'm gonna press the seams open. I'm gonna join the front and back pieces with the right sides together, keeping the pockets matched, pinning them in place, and stitching the side edges, excluding the pocket openings. First, I stitch the side edges up to the pocket marks. Next, I'm going to pin the pockets and stitch them separately. I then finished the pocket seam allowances together. To make the pocket look neat, I pull the tails of the overlock stitch inside the seam with a needle. I'm gonna press the seams open. I'm gonna secure the pocket to the front by backstitching on the right side. Let's move on to the armhole and the back top edge of the dress. I'm gonna stitch the bias strips right sides together with the short edges. I'm gonna press the seams open. I fold the bias binding lengthwise with wrong sides together and press. I'm gonna pin the bias binding to the right side of the armhole and back top edge with raw edges even. After carefully pinning everything along the top edge, I sew with a 1 cm seam allowance. I'm gonna trim the seam allowances to a width of 5 mm. To make the edge lie flat when turned out, I clipped the seam allowance along the curved edge. I'm gonna turn the bias binding upward and top stitch close to the edge. I turn the bias tape to the wrong side and press. I'm going to find the strap marks and mark them with pins. Working from the wrong side of the dress, I'm top stitching the bias binding close to the edge up to the strap marks. I leave these places open in order to insert the elastic later. I cut off the threads and the excess length of the bias tape. Now it's time to make the elastic along the top edge of the back. I'm gonna insert the elastic with a safety pin. I then secure it with a pin on one side. I just gather the edge by pulling the elastic on the other side and securing it. I don't cut the elastic at this step. I'm gonna try on and adjust it to the desired length so that I feel comfortable in it, and then cut the elastic. After that, I'm gonna secure the elastic perpendicular to the edge and fix it by backstitching. I put the elastic tails inside. It's time to make the straps. I form the strap with an iron so that it will be easier to work with them later. Once the straps are folded, I'm gonna try them on before I sew the ruffles to them. To do this, I just pin them to the neckline and go to try them on. The length of the straps should overlap the top edge of the back by 2 or 3 centimeters, so you can fold them and sew them on. Moving on to the ruffles. I'm gonna join the right and left hand ruffle at the center and pin them together. If your fabric is heavy, you may not need a lining for the bottom ruffle, or it may be a very thin fabric. If your fabric is lightweight, it's better to interface it to keep its shape. I'm gonna press the seams open. After that, I'm gonna join the top and bottom ruffle with the right sides together. After pinning everything along the outer side of the ruffles, I'm gonna stitch it with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. I'm gonna clip the corner and trim the seam allowances by 5 millimeters to reduce the bulk. I turn the ruffle to the right side and top stitch the lining close to the edge. Once the edges are pressed flat, I'm gonna make 2 rows of baste stitches along the inner side of the ruffles. I'm pulling the threads, gathering the ruffles on both sides. In this step, I'll need my straps I adjusted earlier. I compare the ruffle length with the strap length and adjust them to the same length. I snip through the seam allowance at the center of the V-neck to the stay stitching to make the V-neck neater. I'm gonna join the ruffle with the V-neck, matching the center, then pin it in place, line it up, and sew. Working from the wrong side, I pin the straps to the V-neck at the center and continue with the ruffles. And also, I'm gonna make sure that the ends of the straps overlap the ruffle by 1 centimeter so that we can finish the strap nicely. I sew the strap using the folded crease as a guide. I'm gonna trim the seam allowances by 5 millimeters and also snip at the center of the V-neck. Working from the right side of the dress, I start with the ends of the straps by folding them inwards and continue top stitching them. I removed the base stitches where they are visible. Turning the dress to the wrong side, I fold it in line with the front center and stitch right here. It's time to sew the straps to the top of the back. I'm gonna put them in place of the gap for the elastic bands and stitch them like a square. To make a hemline, I'm gonna take 2 cardboard templates with a width of 1 centimeter and 4 centimeters, and we'll press through them to make the width of the hem evenly. Next, I pin the hem and stitch it close to the edge. I really love the way it turned out. All the effort put into making this dress was worth it, and I had so much fun throughout the process.